Hey everyone, and welcome back to Crime and Unwind, your favorite late night sip and spiral into the most chilling true crime stories. I'm Aixa.
And I'm Denise. In today's case, we're going to be chatting about one of the most haunting, twisted, and frustrating mysteries of our time. It's been the subject of countless Reddit theories, documentaries, and even a book, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So today we're going to be talking about the disappearance of Maura Murray.
Yes, so if you're new to this case, brace yourself. If you already know it, you probably still think about it at 2 in the morning when you're tossing and turning.
Yep.
It's a cold case that feels almost solvable until it slips right out of your fingertips.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. And then today, so we're pairing all that tension with a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's dark, it's bold, it's layered. It's definitely just like the story.
Mm-hmm. It smells good.
Cheers. Okay. Definitely dark, definitely bold.
Oh, yeah.
And very layered.
Oh, yeah. Not bad.
All right, so let's get into this story. It's February 2004. Maura Murray is 21. She's a nursing student at UMass Amherst and transferred from West Point.
Right.
She's bright, she's athletic, she's serious. On the surface, her life looks very promising.
Yeah. But beneath it all, cracks are forming. On February 5th, while working a late night shift as a security in her dorm, Maura gets a phone call. She completely breaks down. We're talking about uncontrollable crying to the point where her supervisor has to walk her back to her dorm because she could not finish her shift.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So Maura said that the call was from her sister Kathleen. Although Kathleen admits to relapsing, as it turns out, her ex-husband took her straight to a liquor store after picking her up from rehab.
That's crazy.
So of course, Kathleen said that it wasn't that emotional of a phone call. So Maura was upset, but not too upset.
Right.
So what made Maura so upset to the point of breakdown? This information has never been confirmed.
Crazy. The next day, February 6th, Maura is caught using a stolen credit card to order food. That was a small amount, less than $90, and she wasn't charged for a crime. But her photo was taken. Now, this picture seems different than all the pictures that we are used to seeing of Maura online. So she isn't smiling, you can't see teeth, no dimples. It almost looks like a different person.
Yeah,
And it
definitely.
adds to a pattern of quiet, strange behavior, the kind of behavior that hints at inner turmoil.
Yep. So then comes February 7th. That was a Saturday.
Right.
She goes to a small party with her friend Kate. There's so many questions surrounding this party, as not much is known about what exactly happened there. Her friends, Kate and Sarah, claim not to remember who exactly attended the party. Yeah. So they both have been said to refuse to be interviewed by police. But Kate did talk to Julie, which is Maura's sister. She told her that Maura wasn't acting weird that night. But then the next morning, she crashes her dad's Toyota Corolla into a guardrail at 2:30 a.m. after drinking.
The damage on the car was over $8,000.
Yeah.
Now, there were no injuries and no charges were filed, but it did rattle her. Her dad, Fred Murray, helps file the insurance claim and leaves town. Now, Maura is left behind. People speculate that maybe Fred was extremely angry and about the accident and tore into Maura. But Fred claims that although he was pissed, she crashed his car, it was a brand new car, he still attempted to calm Maura down and let her know that it was okay because she did feel really bad about it.
So then the next day, Sunday the 8th, she starts making subtle exit plans. So she emails her professors that she's taken a week off due to a death in the family. However, that death never happened. It never happened. She emails her boyfriend Bill and lets him know that she got his messages, but she's really not up to talking to anyone at this time and that she would return, his call later. She also calls her classmate Erin to return some borrowed clothes that she had of hers, which she does end up taking back to Erin and leaving those clothes at her doorstep.
Yeah. Now, Maura withdraws $280 from her bank account, almost draining it completely, leaving just about $20. Some say she packed up her room neatly as if she was moving. Others claim that it was the beginning of the semester and she just hadn't finished unpacking. So there were boxes in her dorm.
Right.
And we just don't know which one, whether she was coming or going. She buys $40 worth of alcohol, according to the receipts that were found in her car. She calls a condo owner in New Hampshire, but doesn't make any reservations. She calls the skiing lodge and gets an automated message. She prints MapQuest directions to Burlington, Vermont, and tells no one why.
And then here's what's so eerie about all that, though. She had no known ties to anyone in Burlington. No friends, no family, no plan. I mean, it was a snow covered, remote, and quiet area. Almost too quiet.
So February 9th, around 7 p.m., Maura crashes her black Saturn along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. It's a winding rural road, icy, pitch dark, and sparsely populated.
And a local woman named Faith Westman hears a loud bang, looks out the window and sees Maura's car facing the opposite direction. She calls 911 around 7:27. So again, 7 p.m. Maura crashes her car. 7:27 p.m. is when the cops first get a call. I don't know, something about that just doesn't rub me the right way. When she calls 911, she tells them that she saw a man in the car smoking a cigarette, which this statement has been a subject of intense scrutiny as it conflicts with Maura's a female and she was alone.
Supposedly. Yeah.
Supposedly. But her husband, Tim Westman, was also looking out the window and didn't think it was a man smoking a cigarette, but rather a glow or light that was coming from the inside of the car.
Right. Now, while the Westmans are on the phone with 911, their neighbor Butch Atwood stops at the accident scene. He's the last known person to have seen Maura and speak to her. He asked her if she wanted to wait at his house up the road for help. Maura tells him that she's already called AAA, but he knows this isn't true. That spot right there where the accident occurred, complete dead zone. Absolutely no phone signal. So Butch went home, backed his school bus into his driveway, and had his wife call 911.
See, Butch's story has changed several times. All right. So no one really knows what the truth, if any of it is true. He first claims that Maura was inside the car when they talked. Then he later claimed that she was outside her car and spoke to him while leaning on the roof or hood. So these inconsistencies have fueled speculation about the true nature of their encounter and whether he may have withheld information or altered details or maybe altered his possible involvement.
By 7:46 p.m., the police arrive, but Maura is gone, nowhere to be found. No footprints in the snow, no blood. The car is locked, supposedly. Her cell phone, wallet, and keys gone. Her snacks, maps, and alcohol still in the car.
So there is one weird detail though. A rag is stuffed into the tailpipe. But her dad, Fred, said he taught her to do that if the car was smoking. Because remember, this car was kind of a bucket.
Yeah, he told her,
it was
not to drive the car. That's why she was driving his car.
Exactly.
That's why she crashed his car.
Exactly.
He said that for no reason do you need to be driving this car. In case of an emergency, should you have to, the car smokes so bad you're bound to get pulled over.
Exactly.
Stick this rag in the tailpipe to get you from A to B. I'm assuming it's not for long distance.
I don't think so. I wouldn't do it, so I don't know. I don't know. But however, some say that it kind of looks staged. Like someone trying to sabotage or quiet an engine.
And then there's the investigation, or lack thereof, should I say. The police didn't even notify the family until the next afternoon. Fred hopped in his car, raced to New Hampshire, ready to join the search for his missing daughter. But as soon as he got there, he quickly realized he was the only one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Party of one searching. That's insane. So, over the years, Maura's case have gained a massive following.
Yes.
This is a very high profile case.
Yeah.
So, Reddit sleuths, YouTube deep dives, even books, as I stated earlier. But one of the most poignant, grounded voices in all of these is Maura's sister, Julie Murray.
Yes, so Julie is a fierce advocate for truth. She launched her podcast, Media Pressure, to correct misinformation, challenge flawed narratives, and most importantly, keep her sister's story alive. She says too many people have gotten caught up in the mystery and forgot about the humanity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in her podcast, Julie, she reminds listeners that Mara wasn't just a missing person or a puzzle, you know? She was a daughter, she was a sister, she was a friend, a real person with dreams and struggles. You know, the Maury family believes Maura was a victim of foul play, and they spent 2 decades pushing for these answers.
Absolutely. Friend Murray, her father, he's been relentless.
Mhm.
From the very beginning, he said that law enforcement dropped the ball. He's shown up to every search, confronted state officials, and even fought to get access to sealed records,
Yep.
going as far as the Supreme
Yep.
Court to get these records.
Yep.
Julie has said more than once that they feel like they're fighting this battle alone.
Which is insane. So one of the things that Julie talks about is how early media coverage painted Maura. I mean, they really painted her in an unfair light, you know, like the credit card charges and the alcohol. I mean, it kind of overshadowed the fact that she was scared, possibly running from something or even someone.
Yeah. Julie's podcast is like a counterweight to the wild theories, and there's so many of them. She deals in facts. She's also said that she's open to just about any possibility, except the idea that Mara just walked away. That theory to Julie doesn't hold up to the evidence or to who Mara was.
Right. Right. And then can we just say, hearing a sister talk about her sibling like that, I mean, it adds a whole new layer, the heartbreak, the frustration, I mean, the hope. You know, Julie still believes that Moore's case can be solved.
Yeah.
And she's not stopping until it is.
She's not.
Which is understandable. I get it.
Absolutely. So if you're deep in this case like we are and haven't yet listened to Media Pressure, go do it.
Please do.
It's a sharp, empathetic, and unflinching, just like her sister Julie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get to talking about these police officers here. So here's where it kind of gets a little suspicious. Witness A reported seeing a police SUV at the scene, not the standard sedan assigned to Officer Cecil Smith.
Right. So that SUV, vehicle 001, typically used by Police Chief Jeff Williams, who wasn't supposed to be on duty that night.
Right.
Later, Officer Cecil Smith, who was first on scene, he said that he was the one using the SUV that night. And that was after years and years of trying to get him to agree to an interview.
Yep.
He did sit down and say, I was driving the SUV. But that's not what the official logs say. And it's not what the Westmans and Butch reported seeing. They reported seeing Cecil Smith arrive in the sedan 002.
So why the discrepancy? You know what I mean? Is it miscommunication or was it a cover up?
So this inconsistency opens a crack for darker theories, right? Was someone involved or trying to hide something? So why lie about who was driving what?
Exactly. And why not talk to someone sooner about it? So let's go ahead and rewind even further.
Yeah.
So Mara had started at West Point, a promising cadet. But a minor shoplifting incident, stealing makeup, violated the school's strict honor code.
Now, she left the academy shortly after. Her family claims that she planned the transfer to UMass anyway. But it's another sign. Maura made big decisions silently, quickly, and sometimes impulsively.
Yeah, which brings us back to that chilling question. Was her departure from Amherst a plan? Was it a flight or was it a final spiral?
All right, so let's break down some of these major theories. 1. Maura ran away, started over, She packed, she withdrew some money, she had maps, but then why crash her car? Why leave essentials behind, like the deodorant?
Exactly.
Why vanish without using her passport or accessing a bank?
Exactly. Exactly. Or number two, foul play.
Mhm.
Maybe someone picked her up. Maybe someone local. Maybe this was a place of or a wrong place, wrong time scenario.
Mhm. About three. Accidental death. She ran into the woods, got lost, froze, but how? No tracks, no body, and in 20 years of searches, not one single trace.
So doesn't make sense. And then there's theory number four, which kind of I'm leaning towards a little bit. Maybe something darker, a cover up, maybe by police, maybe by locals, or even a stranger.
Now, this theory I didn't hear a lot about, but let's talk about the Hollow Men.
Yeah.
It's a local legend, but also real people.
Mhm.
Three men, Elias Rowan, Jaden Knox, and Colt Devereaux, disappeared the day after Mara. They all worked at a ski lodge within 15 miles of the accident, all seen late night at Maudie's Diner.
Hmm. So apparently they sat in silence,
Mm.
whispering eyes, scanning the windows, then boom, they're gone. Cabins left untouched, half eaten food, no signs of packing, like they just vanished in mid thought.
Locals whisper about old woods, lost trails, and forest dwellers. Some even claim that Mara saw something she shouldn't have, and someone made sure she couldn't talk about it.
Mm, There was also a local rumor. It involved the trio dubbed the Loon Mountain Three. This was three local young men who worked at a nearby ski resort who just happened to not show up to work that night, and whose way to work involves exactly where the accident occurred. Is this a coincidence?
I don't know. So, what about this man who reached out to Fred Murray to tell him that he believed his brother was involved in Maura's disappearance? He provided Fred a rusted knife with reddish brownish stains, believed to have been blood. This knife brought the family to an A frame house where this man's brother once lived with his girlfriend. They brought in cadaver dogs, and the dogs responded to a closet on the bottom floor where blood was found.
Right.
Now, Maura's family did pay to have this blood tested, and it came back positive for human blood, but the sample was too degraded to pull DNA from it.
Insane. Insane. So, Aitza, gut check. What's your theory?
I gotta say foul play. I mean, if her family's adamant that she would not just walk away, I think she was picked up. Someone saw her vulnerable, alone, and took advantage. And I know that at one point the police did bring in cadaver dogs to the scene, and they only picked up a scent maybe 100 yards, and then the scent disappeared. So that would be car pickup.
I think the reason why is because they mentioned a pair of leather gloves that she was given for a Christmas present, and she probably didn't even wear them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So why would you give these dogs a scent? Why wouldn't you use something that was there?
Her family.
Sneakers.
Her family did say why weren't they asked, what in that car was something that
she had.
She was an avid runner, so obviously her running gear was something that she would use on a daily. Yeah, these gloves were given to her only weeks prior, so they don't even know she wore them at all.
Exactly. And if any kind of scent was picked up from the dogs from that, it's probably because it was next to some stuff that she had regularly touched and picked up her scent. So that makes sense that they had a scent, but then it was gone. It's, I don't know. But I don't buy the run in the woods idea. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, she had a 10-minute window and it was freezing and she didn't have any type of hiking gear with her. So it doesn't make sense that she would just go walk off. Yeah, like it just doesn't make sense.
I don't know. There's something about the SUV confusion that keeps me up at night. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, why so much hush hush about the cars, the police cars, and who was driving what.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then 20 years later, we're still stuck in that 10-minute gap.
Yeah.
I mean, in that 10-minute gap, a whole life lost in a blink.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it just seems as though, you know, all of the witnesses just happened to look away at the same time. All took their eyes off of Maura at the same time, and then poof, she was gone.
And really, you know what I mean? Oh, God, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
But I do think that she was definitely going through something internally.
Yeah, me too.
It's just the little things,
Yeah.
the shoplifting and the credit card, stuff like that. Maybe she was crying out for help. Maybe it was out of character for her. She was probably going through some stuff internally, but her family believes that she can just walk away on her own.
And if you see and look like pictures of her, you can just see her genuine, smile. She just seemed just like this light, you know. I mean, her signature dimples.
Yeah.
A lot of people talked about, one thing that they'd always remember from her, specifically her family, was her dimples and her smile, and
She was funny.
Yeah.
She was funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, guys. So, what do you think? What do you think happened to Maura? Did she vanish by choice, or was it something more sinister at play?
I don't know. Let us know. Message us, DM us with your theories, drop a comment, and tell us why, what you think, and what wine you're pairing with tonight's episode.
Yes, and ultimately, wherever she is, she deserves peace and truth. And I think our hearts go out specifically to their family, because we highly recommend for you to listen to Media Pressure and Julie's side of the story, and the fathers and the brother. And unfortunately, since then, the mother and the sister
have passed away.
So
Yes.
they did both
of cancer.
the same exact cancer.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. But for those that are still survived, I really do feel that I'm hoping one day they get the answers that they deserve.
Absolutely. And I don't think, Fred will leave us without continuing to fight. And he did say he will, fight till
Yeah.
till he
So
goes
his
to the
last
grave.
breath.
And,
Yeah.
I believe Julie made that podcast because, I mean, if you search Maura Murray, there's so many podcasts, so many documentaries, and again, there's a lot of stories that are being told
Misconstrued
and made up. And I think that's why she wanted to,
Yeah. Say their side of the story, like
Absolutely.
the facts.
Absolutely.
The
And
facts.
as far as the book and the journalist that wrote the book, he's entertaining. I've watched his or listened to his stories and read a few of his stuff, and I feel like maybe he's reaching.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Too much.
that's so disgusting.
How
How can you make someone's pain your payday?
he likes to
Basically.
I want to say victim blame. He throws around a lot of accusations towards the family.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. And again, the family's open to any possibility, like they said, and they went as far as, going to psychics and, getting the help of psychics and readers. And, so they are open. They want answers. They want to find Maura. And
That's insane, man.
I wish that for them. They deserve answers.
Absolutely.
They deserve it. So we'll be back next time with another chilling case, another bottle of wine, and probably more questions than answers.
Yes.
Yeah, so stay safe, stay curious, and don't get murdered.